All right. Thanks so much, Dr. Jackson, for that great introduction. And hey, everybody, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Brian right here, and welcome inside my New Patient Group podcast studio where we do the New Patient Group podcasts and on-demand courses. Hope everybody is doing great out there. Looking forward to spending the next hour and a half with you, teaching you how to not go crazy. Let's be honest with ourselves here for a minute. Maybe this is you. Employees watching, this could be you as well. Business owners, doctors out there, office managers, you've got to ask yourself, do you feel like this at the end of every single day? Or it could be in the middle of the day, or for you it may be even a worse situation where it may even be at the beginning of the day before anything ever gets started because you're so tired and worn out from the previous day, weeks, months, and years. Well, the reality of the situation is there's ways to have this no longer happen. If you feel this way, inevitably it's on your shoulders to not feel like this anymore. You feel this way because of the decisions you're making as a business owner. Not a criticism, but that is why I love talking all over the world, because I love teaching how to go from there and how shifting your mindset and looking at numbers and looking at it, just different things differently, how you can go from there to just zen, at peace, while growing more. And for you, growth may not be the problem. For you, it just may be you don't want to kill yourself at the end of the day. You just want to have more fun while maintaining the pace you're on. Maybe you're not growing and not having fun. Whatever it is, there are ways we're going to talk about today that's going to get you from craziness to just zen while allowing you to grow your practice and have a heck of a lot more fun doing it. Let's look at what a standard practice looks like to a prospective customer that walks through the doors. Look, we have a front desk. We've got Judy up there answering the phones. She's got one phone here, phone's ringing over here. She puts this one on hold to get this one. Or maybe she doesn't get this one because she's here. You know, she's having door chimers go off, someone hamming her a clipboard, someone tapping on her shoulder. Meanwhile, we've got Joe behind her trying to verify insurance, and that's all crazy because Miss Smith didn't fill out her paperwork. She's sitting in the waiting room, you know, just waiting for you to hopefully verify the insurance. Everything's reactive. Everyone's chaos. The waiting room is packed. You've got a packed clinic. You know, they're just doing their best to get through one patient so they can run down, clean the instruments, pull back somebody else. You've got a TC or maybe office managers watching where they're overloaded. They're overloaded with so many admin responsibilities as an office manager, they can't even be on the floor to help out with patient experience. We got the TC that's overloaded. We've got Judy in the back making in-house retainers, so she's stuck in a room somewhere, not moving the business forward at all. You've got Joe checking out. While he's checking out, Susie takes the payment, misses a new patient phone call, and you've got all over the place. It's mass chaos. And this, everybody, requires a ton of people. It requires a ton of admin responsibilities going on inside the office. And inevitably, it creates a situation where you're extremely reactive to everything going on, and it is an outdated way to run your practice. There are so many solutions and companies that I'm going to show you today that you can view as part of your team that's going to absolutely transform your life. And when I say life, look, life and business are intertwined. Right? To be a great business owner, we got to be happy personally, and be happy in our personal lives usually helps us be happy as a business owner. But we want to teach you how to get the most out of life by setting your business up to grow while working less. And we're going to talk a lot about taking your practice from what I just described into that Zen state, taking your practice, what I just described, and creating a VIP experience for your customer while your practice doesn't look like it's so chaotic. How can we be proactive rather than reactive? And it all comes from being an entrepreneur. Look, you are a business owner. You decided to open up your own business, work for yourself. You are an entrepreneur. And the more you innovate, the more you commit to learning skill sets as a leader, to be assertive, to build your knowledge, to be able to understand how to implement strategies to achieve your goals, the better you're going to be. And today we're going to work on, for the first time in your life, there's not very many entrepreneurs that ever reach the potential of what I'm going to teach you today. And what I'm going to teach you today is a huge leap for your career, your business ownership, your practice, and your employees, is taking you from working in your practice to on your business. Look, when you're in a reactive state, all you're doing today is keeping your doors open, right? If you think about all the things, all the operations going every single day, that's to keep your doors open. Right? But what about tomorrow and beyond? And today I'm going to teach you how to partner and use outsourcing to be able to help them work in the business and you get to work on it. All right. It's going to be awesome. But in order to do it, we're going to break past the mode of normal. Look, the consumer journey is what New Patient Group teaches. You're going to hear this journey and about this a lot. You're going to see this screen today a lot because I'm going to take you through this entire screen one by one and teach you how to reinvent the immersive consumer experience. All right. There's a journey the consumer takes with you and there's a journey you take with them. Right? Every single step you take, this is really the order it happens, right? It all builds off of the culture, the foundation you have as an organization that literally is embedded into every single thing you see on this screen, right? Then they shop for you, right? Then they call you, then they hang up, then they walk in, then the exam starts, then you present money, and they become a patient or they don't, right? They become a customer or they don't. Well, there's really something cool that we're going to work on today together on how to set this up to create a VIP experience for all three things you see in that pie chart. It starts with you as the business owner. We've got to set a vision so you know what to get and you know what you want out of your business and out of your life. Employee experience is the new customer experience in this economy, business owners. We've got to set it up for a VIP experience for them. And then and only then can we create a VIP customer experience, because remember, you are a people business. You are not an orthodontic practice. That's what I'm going to teach you today. You are a people business, hospitality first, orthodontics second. You just happen to be selling that under your doors. It's a big mindset shift, but it is such a big one for you as an entrepreneur and a business owner that will transform your practice. And why is this immersive experience so critically important? Well, the latest Harris Interactive study, a great place to get statistics from. It's one of my favorites. The latest one, most recent, says that 91% of people surveyed said they would choose and remain with a business because of the experience, the quality of their customer service, even if their products or services are inferior to other options. This is what all of you are dealing with, and why a clinician not as good as you can still beat you. Because on the non-clinical side, if they're better, they are going to win in this economy. This stat proves it. In addition, customers don't usually know much about what they're buying, right? They can see the look of the flat screen TV, but they don't know the inner workings. And it's the same way with you. They can relate to the non-clinical much more than they can the clinical. So we're going to teach how to merge those two great things together today in the $4 million, 4-employee practice, the art of outsourcing. And I very much believe the buzzword outsourcing is not a buzzword. I believe it is the now and the future of success. I see it with our new patient group practices. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today. There's a couple QR codes you're going to see today. The very first one that you see as it pops up periodically throughout this presentation is the podcast. Scan it. It'll take you there. The one on the right is a 5.5-hour on-demand workshop that we did right behind here for all of you watching. It's a great one and hope you enjoy it. Today is about a real true story about Dr. Rob Schaefer in Champaign, Illinois, right? He is about to become a $4 million in production and 4-employee practice, single location, and he is an innovator, and he is loving life because of these partners that you see on the screen: Invisalign, New Patient Group, OrthoFi, Right Chat Dental Monitoring, and then also Retainers for Life, which I'm going to talk about here in just 1 second. Also, back in the COVID days, you may have seen me deliver for OrthoFi the $2 million 2-employee practice. That was the real-life story of Bob Skopak that just popped up on your screen. And today, I am going to talk about both of their stories and kind of combine them into one because they're very similar and have very similar thought patterns. Now, like I said, Retainers for Life, I would like to announce our great partnership. I am so excited to be speaking for Retainers for Life. I think a lot about Dr. Jackson, wonderful lady, very innovative clinician, and also business person in mind, because she realizes getting these admin things out of the office is, one, less expensive. There's a myth about that I'm going to talk about today. It's less expensive, but it just helps in so many different ways. So Retainers for Life was not a part of Rob Schaefer or Bob Skopak. However, it fits right into the outsourcing model that becomes a part of your team in so many different ways that I'm going to integrate into today's presentation that you're going to love. Now, what is today not about? Today is first and foremost not about firing your team. People watching, I can see you now going, what is this guy going to do? He's teaching our doctor to get rid of employees, and that's not it whatsoever. Here's the reality. If you take like a Bob Skopak, he started his journey when we met. He was doing about $1 million a year. 3 years later, he was doing $2 million. And he went from about, I think it was around 10 employees down to like 2.5, right in there. But it wasn't because he was firing them. It's that, Susie may have gotten pregnant and left, and then one person quit. And if you're in the normal state, that's always going to happen as a small business owner, and you're always going to have to do the wash, rinse, repeat cycle and go through everything again. Hiring, HR, training. They're going to leave. You're going to do it again and again and again and again. And it's a real culture killer as well, because a lot of times new people don't fit into your culture. Right? So the reality is everyone's on their own journey, right? Today, you may be a $1 million practice with 7 employees. Well, I'm going to teach you how to grow to 2 million today and need less people, meaning as 1 or 2 of your employees leaves organically, you're not going to have to replace them, right? The beauty of today is it makes it easier, and if you use the tools of the outsource partners right, they grow you at the same time. You may be maxed out with your chair time. You may just be burned out and sick of everything, like I was talking about. You may have high turnover, frustrated with finding good people. You're just not enjoying being the clinician that you love to be. You're low conversion, whatever it may be, whatever journey you're on. This could be all the above. Hopefully for you it's not, but it could be. This is going to help you regardless of where your journey is. Also, today is not a sales pitch. All right, very important. You're going to hear me edify these companies. The reality is I am obsessed with giving value, but today I will edify these companies. In full disclosure, I am faculty and a speaker for Invisalign. I'm a speaker now for Retainers for Life. I'm a speaker for OrthoFi. I'm also a speaker for Dental Monitoring, and I'm the founder and CEO of New Patient Group and RightChat, okay? But again, these are not sales pitches today. These are 2 stories of real-life doctors, their real-life stories, and how they use these outsource partners to grow them, make them more efficient, and ease their life, improve their employee experience, and inevitably the customer experience, which gets more people to buy from you. This is also not a get-rich-quick scheme. Look, the reality is the model I'm teaching you today, you're going to go through some ups and downs, some hurdles. Anything worth it, there's going to be hurdles. But this is a situation where you must be a compliant customer. Just like if you put clear aligners on me and I didn't wear them and I got bad results, that's on me, even though I'm probably going to blame you. You may be in a situation out there where you've used a company before that you even seen me mention on the screen. Well, if you don't go all in, then you're maybe not going to have such a great relationship with that company. The reality is these doctors have gone all in. You take remote monitoring as an example. You can't go, well, I'll put these patients in, but these not, and these type of cases I will, and these I won't, and aligners I will, but braces I won't. You can't do it. You've got to go all in, because what I'm going to teach you today is a completely different way to run your practice and how it's ever been before. And let's get started. That foundation that starts with leadership and culture, the very first piece of this consumer journey, let's dive in. And it starts with a vision. So Robert Schaefer and Bob Skopak both use, so New Patient Group does 3 things under one roof. We do business coaching, team training, and digital marketing. So one of the things that we help with the doctors is we help create their vision, right? Because without a vision, the employees are lost, and so are you. If you don't have a vision on paper, there's nothing to relate all your decisions back to. So while both of them had different visions, I combined them together, and it's pretty similar to what you see on the screen. And their vision is to provide memorable experiences for themselves, my team, and every prospective and current customer. I want us to have a blast and not deal with the unnecessary chaos, stress, and ad expense so many doctors endure. We are an experience-obsessed business first and will not let anything stand in the way of all the above. There's a lot of things said there. Breaking it down just a little bit, the memorable experiences. They want to have unexpected experiences for their customers, their employees, and themselves, right? They want to have fun. And the reality, like I was saying earlier, if you're stressed, if it's chaotic, if you have tons of ad expense, that is on your shoulders as a business owner because they're unnecessary, because there's a new way to run the practice. Remember many years ago at AAO, people would, pound their chest at the AAO with these huge teams, and they'd brag about their ad expense and how much they produce and how chaotic their office is. And there was a time that was cool. That's not cool anymore, right? For a lot of different reasons, one of which is it's just not necessary. The last one there is their vision to their employees and their kind of guide in life is that we are an experience-obsessed business first. So when we go to train our team, we're going to make sure we have time. When we shoot great social media content, we're going to have time. All the things that move our needle forward, we are always going to make the time for. The things that detract from being able to do those, we're getting them out of the office. All right. And it is a discipline that they have stuck with and that we hold them accountable to always go back to the vision. Now, with a vision, though, you've got to have an execution plan. So their execution plan, as being a leader to create that culture of excellence, is to properly utilize the pocketbooks, tools, training, technologies, and expertise of other companies to force them to do the work we would otherwise have to do. And by doing this, it allows our business to be unique in every way without the daily stress others endure. I want others doing the busy work so we can focus on what moves the needle forward. And I also want to utilize them to make it more convenient for our customers. Look, experience without convenience does not work. There is no experience without convenience. The two are intertwined. Ask Amazon. Right? So basically what this execution plan says is I'm going to use New Patient Group, OrthoFi, Invisalign, Retainers for Life, RightChat, and dental monitoring to take the stress that's completely unnecessary off all of our shoulders. And I'm going to go all in with all these companies so they can do what they do best. They have deeper pockets. They have more ability and expertise to train people, et cetera, et cetera. So that is, from a leadership standpoint, what they're doing. And basically what they're overcoming is this type of myth. In-house retainers save me money. So I'm going to have an occasional miss screen that pops up today. And with that screen, I want you to kind of picture what you may be thinking, right? Because the reality is what you might be thinking, the mindset's got to change, right? People say in-house retainers saves me time. No, it doesn't. In-house retainers saves me money. No, it doesn't. In-house retainers require hiring, training, human resources, rehiring when they leave, retraining, wash, rinse, repeat. It is contributing to the chaos. They add to the complexity also of all the things that go on inside your doors, right? It takes people and sticks them in a back room when they could be doing other things to advance your needle forward, which I'm going to show on the next screen, right? It's another example of people in your practice rather than on your business. There is also little to no incentive for your TC to upsell people that we're going to talk about later. And even though on paper, numbers sometimes make it look cheaper, it's not, right? Because numbers lie to you. And this is where an advanced mindset like Dr. Jackson is so great and why I believe in them, because it goes back to, in this case, convenience, right? Part of why this is not saving you money is your in-house retainers. Let's say you ship them, right? Guess what? Someone's got to do it. You've got to pay for it, et cetera, et cetera. It requires them working on your business or in your practice, not on your business, when it could just be shipped right to their mailbox by somebody else. And this is an example of a mindset shift these doctors have made. Would you rather have Judy stuck in a back room making an in-house retainer, or would you rather take that, have somebody else do it, who's going to do it better in most circumstances, more convenient in most circumstances, and take that job and move it to growing your business, shooting social media content, right? Greeting patients when they walk through the door, that unexpected, memorable experience, managing your obs and pending. Well, Brian, I already have a treatment coordinator that does that. I hate to tell you, she's not doing it for as many hours as necessary. More on that later. Making a cup of coffee for a patient moves your needle far more than somebody stuck making an in-house retainer. Maybe helping out answering the phones if they're ringing and no one's getting them. An additional assistant on the floor so everyone can be less chaos. But then again, then they quit, terminate, and you do the whole thing over again. The reality is, everyone, from a leadership perspective, you have to shift your mindset to get that stuff out your doors. And these doctors utilize the companies you see on the screen from a leadership culture perspective and look at them as employees to make sure the clinical chairs in the back are not filled unless somebody absolutely needs to be there. The front is empty, so it's a complete VIP experience when they walk through the door, right? And I'm going to dive in as we go through this consumer journey tonight, how these doctors are utilizing these companies via every consumer interaction. And the other thing you have to think about is your time. When you outsource, you get hours upon hours upon hours of your time back that you never would have had. And something we teach the operational success meeting, if you do not have an hour to 2 hours blocked in your schedule every week to meet as a team, role play, shoot content, Build out automated training, how you clean the sterilization room, video that out, put it somewhere to where if you hire a new employee, they can just automate it and watch the videos. You have to have time to do things. And when you outsource, you are creating a culture where now you can implement when you come back from AAO. You can implement after watching me speak. You can implement after going to some other kind of event when other practices can't because they're running around with their heads cut off. And now that your leadership is set up for success, now let's move on to online marketing. You may say, Brian, why'd you circle leadership and culture? Well, that's going to be circled the whole day. Why? Because your mindset absolutely determines what kind of online marketing presence you will have, because there's a decision you have to make now. How do we stand out while people are shopping online? How can I make this a unique experience for myself, my team, and prospective customers? And what can I outsource that will take the workload off of us and also help execute my vision? So critical. Both these doctors asking themselves this. And this is a question you must ask yourself via every consumer interaction, as we will today. Look, the reality of the situation is they are saying this because we are coaching them to think outside the box. Look, according to Forbes, the average person views more than 10,000 marketing messages on any given day. Look, you're distracted. Your employees are distracted. I'm distracted. Your customers, patients, we're all distracted more than ever before. And this relates, and this goes back to why if you go across the web, websites are outdated. There's not professional photography on them. The websites aren't interactive. There's template blah social media posts. There's lackluster content. The blog posts are template. There's little to no YouTube presence. More on that in a minute. Lackluster search engine optimization results. And the consumer engagement online is terrible, and it's unnecessary, and all this adds and increases your ad expenditures online when it's not necessary. And the reality of the situation is it goes back to the fact you're running an outdated practice, because when your practice looks like this, you have no time. All the time that you could be spending doing the things that move the needle forward, you can't because you're stuck inside your practice just keeping the doors open for that day. This is a totally different way to think. And it goes back to another myth. I have my own marketing person that does this, or we do this on our own. And it goes back to the fact that every second your marketing person spends editing content, posting content, studying the consumer data, studying the changes in consumer data, tracking data, etc. They could be spending more time gathering more content. The editing and all of those are admin responsibilities that don't move your needle. Shooting the content moves your needle. Also, again, what happens if that person leaves? The wash, rinse, repeat cycle. And there are also other companies that can hire much higher level talent than your small business. It's not an insult at all. It's just reality, because other companies can afford executive level talent. This is why Rob Schaefer and Bob Skopak use digital marketing with New Patient Group, because my executive level marketing team becomes their executive level marketing team. If you have a marketer, great, because that way we get to work with them. If you have a marketer that then leaves you, you never have to replace them, and we become your employee. Everything is personalized, marketing assignments, etc. Because what happens inevitably is that you have to spend time. This is the most important thing. You've got to spend time on what moves the needle forward and outsource the rest. Every ounce of your energy needs to be spent leveraging the content. All right? Leverage the expertise of others to come up with the marketing assignments and the strategy and studying the consumer data and the psychology of the consumer and the changes. And you will thrive because you have more time to shoot the content that's necessary to thrive online. Look, over 90% of Gen Z begins searching on YouTube or another video-based platform. YouTube is the new Google, right? Google owns them. Your search results on YouTube are tied and intertwined over with Google. Something cool that I'm going to show you here in just a second. Noticing that, and this is another way to use partners. This always cracks me up, people that think like in-house aligners are cheaper and it's saving them money. More on that later. In-house aligners require a ton more employees, training, etc. They contribute. It's not that I don't like clear. I have friends and I speak and help companies that are in-house clear aligners. But the reality is in-house clear aligners don't save you money. There's a difference. That's the mindset. If you do them because you like it better clinically, that's a different story. But they are not saving you money, because in addition to having to have a bigger team, a more complex internal operations, training, hiring. As you grow, you need more people, etc. You're losing the brand awareness that Invisalign has spent hundreds upon hundreds of millions creating on your behalf. And all you have to do is leverage the Invisalign brand via the power of video to drive more people to your practice. If you don't do it, you are losing tons of new patients because Invisalign is the Kleenex in the industry. This is what's typed in. It's the #1 search result or entered search term in orthodontics. And remember, you have time to create this great content because somebody else is editing it. And let's look how this works now. And this is very important. I'm on youtube.com. And this is so important. We're going to type in Invisalign North Barrington. That's where Bob Skopak is. And heavily populated area in Chicago. Well, look at it. His practice controls YouTube, right? We optimize it. We give him the guidance on what to shoot. We code the videos. We make sure he comes up first. And look at this dominance. It's all him, every single one. First page, second page, third page, all of these, Skopak Orthodontics, Skopak Orthodontics. Why? Because they have time to shoot the content. We edit it, post it, and use our expertise to make sure it comes up. But here's the key. Whenever you then click on it, you have to have good content. Let's look at an example from Bob Skopak. This is one of my favorites.
Hey guys, Dr. Skopak, Skopak Orthodontics, and I've been an orthodontist now for 25 years. I finished dental school 30 years ago. We all go to dental school, become dentists, and then we go through extra education to become an orthodontist. And we learn to use all kinds of stuff like this to straighten your teeth. And it's great, it all works great. You know, you have nice straight teeth, your bite fits well, that's awesome. But now, all of that stuff can be replaced with the Invisalign aligners. It's awesome. It's so much more comfortable. It works as well or better than any of those other appliances. Now, but what you have to think of is Invisalign as a tool. It's a tool we use. If you think if you're gonna have a house built, if you're gonna have a house built, you don't buy a hammer, you buy the person that swings the hammer. If you're gonna buy Invisalign, if you're gonna get your teeth fixed, you're buying the doctor that prescribes this. You're not buying Invisalign. And we hear all the time, you know, I'm doing Invisalign, I'm buying Invisalign. You're not. It's a tool that we use. It's like the hammer, it's like the braces, it's the aligners, and it's awesome. What we're gonna do, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna do a series of videos now over the next 6 months or year, and we're gonna talk a little more specific stuff about your gums and recession in your gums. If you have existing recession, how we can maintain that and we can stabilize that. How we obviously don't want to give you bad gums by moving your teeth in your mouth. And that can happen no matter what tool you use. So go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to show you some pretty cool stuff. And again, at this point, we're using Invisalign for everything. It can replace all of these other appliances, but it's just like the hammer. It's not the Invisalign, it's who's prescribing the Invisalign. And it can sometimes take hours from the time you come in to the time we have all these trays for you. So choose your doctor wisely. Invisalign's an awesome product. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.
Again, that was a great video from Bob Skopak, and he's wonderful on camera. And if you go back to it, again, using these outsource partners also on the social media channels, you can edify how digital you are. You can edify all the things that these companies bring to the table. Make you unique online. Make you unique in the community, right? If you know how to leverage all of their cool stuff. And they also make you unique on the new patient phone call. And we're going to dive into that now in this reinventing the immersive consumer journey. Look, I hope you're starting to think to yourself, gosh, you know, this is a new way to run. I didn't really look at these outsource partners that way before. And hopefully you're starting to shift that mindset. But if not, we're going to keep on rolling until you do. Here's the reality of the situation. What you don't know as a business owner, it always is interesting to me. You know, doctors will come and say, Brian, how do I lower my Invisalign bill? How do I get that bill down? And they're so obsessed with it. And of course you should be looking to get it cheaper. That's what you always should be doing. But the reality is that you feel that pain because the money's yanked out of your bank account every month. But what you don't feel the pain of is all the other things that you never had to begin with that are costing you way, way more money. And one of these is missed calls. And I have some real stories. And think about the stories in your life. How many times you wanted to buy from a place and they didn't answer the call and you picked up and called somewhere else? Or how many times you've called a place and it was an answering service and you hung up and called somewhere else? Right? Remember Kristen and I, we needed a plumber. We called the first plumber, no answer. Second plumber, no answer. I think the third or fourth one answered. Can't remember which one, but we called multiple ones. And they didn't answer. The last one answered. They got the business, right? But the first few plumbers, they don't even know that's happening. Meanwhile, they're out sticking money into advertising dollars. Then my dog Winston got hit in the face with a baseball bat. My son accidentally hit him. Winston came up behind the bat. He swung it, hit him in the skull. It was a pretty bad situation. Winston's fine now, but it was a bad situation at the moment. What'd we do? Called vet number 1, no answer. Vet number 2, no answer. Vet number 3 answered, got the business. And this, by the way, is during normal, regular business hours. It's not like 2 in the morning or something. Right? And third, we wanted new wood floors. We called wood floor company 1 and 2, neither answered. 3 answered. Boom, they got the business. This is how it works, everybody. And the amount of new patients you are losing is startling during regular business hours. A lot of you may have an answering service before and after hours, which Right Chat, which I'm going to talk about, answers then too. But the reality of the situation is, whether it's before, after, or during regular business hours, nobody as a new patient leaves a voicemail anymore. They go to Google, they type in Invisalign as an example, they see the first practice that has the best reviews, and they probably check the website, they may check out some YouTube and social media stuff, and they're like, boom, I'm calling that practice. If you don't answer, guess what they do? They go to practice 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. And the startling number that we have, the average amount of mystery calls it takes us during normal business hours to get somebody to answer is 3. Think about that, all of you at your practice. 3 times on average it takes us to call a practice during regular business hours for them to answer their phones. And that's where Right Chat was born. I had several new patient group customers that wanted me to create a company like Right Chat. What Right Chat does is answer the phones on your behalf, speaks as your employee, remotes into your software, schedules new patients, and we can do that as your backup emergency, or we can be your primary. For these doctors, we're their primary. And I'm going to talk more about that here. And this is why it's so important. Bob Skopak's saying to himself here, and Rob Schaefer, you'll see this in just a second, about their vision. And they're saying it because people are calling now upwards of 5 practices before they decide which to visit, which makes your receptionist in a sales role. They must be trained on sales, hospitality, customer service, verbiage, presentation, the psychology of the consumer, which means knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it. They are a sales machine, a marketing piece. They are not a data collector. Hello, do you go to your GP's office? Do you have a dentist? What's his name? Like, this is the calls in healthcare. No, they are to edify the uniqueness, the innovation, the patient experience, the technologies, the digital workflow, your flexible investment options, you as a doctor and your credentials. That is how the receptionist job must be. And let's look at this from a missed call standpoint, just like I was talking about on the lab fee, right? You're worried about a lab fee, but look at this. 3 missed new patient phone calls a month. That's 36 a year. $6,000 average case fee. That's $18,000 a month. $216,000 in a year. If you have a 70% treatment acceptance, boom, you are losing $151,200 a year that you otherwise would have in your pocket. That's being yanked out, just like your Invisalign bill, but you don't feel it because it was never there to begin with. These are the lost opportunities, everybody, that is happening. And the opportunities also are lost when you do answer the phone because of lack of skill sets. A study by EasyBee found that over 70% of people would end or not even begin the relationship with a business because of poor phone etiquette. It should be a huge focus. So Rob Schaefer and Bob Skopak are sitting here going to themselves, well, do I have my own team trained? Or do I outsource to a company that already has employees with the expertise needed to execute my vision? And they ask them because they're going, look, if I do hire somebody and I train somebody and then they leave, I've got to do it again. Or if I hire the wrong person, I've got to do it again. Or even if I do hire the right person and get them trained, they're never going to be as good as Brian's agents in the amount of training and their culture that they have. That's what they're saying to themselves. So the reality is they're going, do I want this for my employees? Do I want this when people walk through the door? I know that I'm missing new patient calls. So if I plug that hole and I have people that talk in a way that's going to increase my starts and lessen my no-shows and increase people filling out the paperwork, why would I want my office looking like this when it doesn't have to be? I want to take Janice that would otherwise be stuck on the phones, and I want her moved into a concierge role. I want it to be a VIP experience when people walk through the door. I don't want this craziness. It's unnecessary. And now they're running a proactive approach when people walk through the door, a new patient experience in just a second. But the reality is this is a better experience for the employees. They don't want to have to deal with this stuff either while trying to jam hospitality. That's something that's always amazed me about this industry. It's like, okay, I want to be a hospitality. Okay, let's look at the schedule. Well, we don't have time to greet people when they walk through the door. We don't have time to train on sales. We don't have time to do this. We don't have time to do this because of the outdated business model. You will have hours upon hours every week doing what I'm teaching you today, using these companies. And what my Right Chat agents do for them is they edify the YouTube station. They edify the digital technology of OrthoFi and the flexible investment options. They edify in the doctors being the best with Invisalign, the expertise in the thousands of cases they've done. They edify the convenience of remote monitoring. They edify the convenience of retainers for life. These companies make them unique, and then the agents sell them. All these companies are working together to create this VIP experience. Now, it's downtime. We got them scheduled. So how do we create, again, a unique experience for you, the employees, and the customers? And that's what these doctors ask themselves. Okay, now we have them scheduled. So what technologies, tools, and companies can I use that will help ensure my vision is executed? Remember, vision, memorable experiences. And this is why your vision is so important to have on paper, because then you can always reference back to it, and it makes your decision easier. Like before, based on these two's vision, they're never going to train their own people on the new patient call, or they would use Right Chat as a backup, and when they lost somebody, they would then just replace them with Right Chat. But now that they have them scheduled, what technologies, how can we continue this beautiful journey? Well, they're looking at this and they're going, look, the average consumer, this is according to Microsoft, kind of a sad stat, but the average consumer attention span has dropped to 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish, which is a decrease from 12 seconds back in 2000. You can see our attention span's just going down and down and down and down. Well, knowing that, there's two ways that if you have a no-show problem, there's two ways to fix it. And it's the new patient call and the downtime, those two things. It's the receptionist's fault and what happens after the call and before they are supposed to show up. That's what's killing you and creating the no-shows. And I'm going to show some data here in just a second. But let's see, what does normal look like? And these doctors know that, right? You're going to send out some paperwork that they have to print out, or they're supposed to fill it out on a clipboard and come in. You have some automated text reminders that are going out. You have Judy up there trying to get a hold of people, doing appointment confirmations. You're trying to have the TC call them beforehand. You know, you've got, again, people verifying insurance like crazy. It's just craziness. And this is the normal because they can't even get a hold of the appointment confirmations. They can't, and then they got to call back. It's reactive and it doesn't grow your business, right? These are normal. And again, how's this coming across to the patient who's seeking multiple opinions? This is the other beauty of this. If you envision me going through step by step throughout this journey, the reality of the situation is you will see clearly why our practices charge more, convert at 85 to 95%, spend nothing on advertising, et cetera, et cetera. It's all because of the experiences. Instead, let's go from an outdated way after that phone call. Because look at this. Like I said, the no-shows, 3 a month, 36 a year. You're looking, if you look at all these numbers again, just like the missed calls, you're looking again at 151,200 lost yearly. Just at 3 new patient no-shows a month. And whatever yours are, plug in the numbers. But if you combine your missed new patient calls with the no-shows, you're losing $302,400 a year, and you are complaining about the wrong things. You're spending money on advertising. Meanwhile, $300,000 of revenue is sitting right there for you if you just look at things differently. Step 1 of the downtime with these doctors. Right Chat answers the new patient call as their employee, edifies, schedules, puts all the information into the software, and then because these doctors use Orthofy automates the rest. An automated welcome email goes out. Now, a new patient group they use as part of our hospitality and experience training. We then, our professional photographers, if you use digital marketing, which they do with us as well, go in and get a really cool video that's embedded into this personalized email. While the practice is just sitting back, relaxing, all this is just happening automatically, right? And the video looks like something like this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Randy Wright, and I'd like to welcome you to our orthodontic family. We're all very excited that you've chosen to spend your valuable time with us. I have a wonderful team that are not only great employees, but they're great people with big hearts. We have such a fun time together with our patients. In fact, I suggest you check out our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. We have a lot of fun around here. One of my favorite things to share with you is our 3D iTero smile simulation. It's so exciting to see the transformation, taking your teeth from their current position into a simulated smile result. There's a lot of work we dedicate to giving you a great smile, but the technology is so amazing, and again, I look forward to sharing it with you. Something I'm really proud of is being one of the area's top providers of Invisalign clear aligners. Now, a little bit about me personally. I'm originally from Louisiana, but have lived in the Tri-Cities area for the past 20 years and absolutely love the community. I have two fantastic kids, Daniel and Elena, and I love having my beautiful wife Maria working alongside me every day. Together we love spending time traveling, especially to the lake, where I enjoy spending time on the water and hiking a great variety of trails. Again, we're so excited to have you come in and seeing what we're all about. See you soon.
And you can see right away what a wow factor that would be for practices. Now, the beauty is that video is on his YouTube station. So every time a click happens, he's growing his YouTube brand, working smarter, not harder, enhancing the patient experience while working less. Unexpected, memorable experiences. The outsourced partners helping Bob Skopak and Rob Schaefer carry out these unexpected, memorable experiences. Step 2, we've got to have a fully digital onboarding system. Cannot be a printable PDF. Nobody wants to fill it out because it's a waste of their time, because they think it's a waste of time any practice they go to. Right? So unless you know how to sell them while it's not, nobody wants to do it. And if one practice they schedule at is print out paperwork and another one is all digital, boom, the digital one wins, especially if all these other touch points are going strongly. Right? Increase. This is where they're using Orthofy. Again, all digital, right from the phone. A beautiful thing, nice and easy. And then this is automated as well because it can blast out via text. You don't need the, hey, your appointment's at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Those don't work because they're getting automated text from all 5 practices they're scheduling with. But what if this one on your YouTube station, this is Jet Pascal's practice that we've worked so many years with. What if this was automated and sent out via text? Don't you think you would stand out? Watch how cool this is. Don't you see? And all those steps are automated, everybody. You're not doing anything. There is no, and think about how many hours now they're on this insurance eligibility reinvented, right? Full solutions. Orthofy is doing all this work for you, right? And they do it at a higher level, by the way. I know the data inside our new patient group practices versus the ones that aren't using Orthofy. The reality of the situation, again, is it goes back to these are employees that would otherwise have to be doing this stuff, but the employees don't come with digital technologies and deep pocketbooks. And all the time that you are going crazy inside your office and you're verifying insurance and no one's answering, or the insurance is putting you on hold, and you're creating this aura of just a negative employee experience, they could be focused doing something that actually grows your business. And the beauty of all this, that I'm going to show you here in just a second, is now we can get them closed before they even walk through the door, because the digital paperwork on the phone is going to increase your chances they do it. The way my agents at RightChat sell the why you should fill out the paperwork, how that's going to benefit you and your family, why it's not a waste of time, also increases. And if they're filling it out early, then we can communicate something really cool to them, because you have a 14% increase in same-day starts when the patient knows their insurance benefits prior to entering your practice, which goes back to this. We've got to be digital with the paperwork and have a receptionist that knows how to sell it so they can come prepared for the same-day start. And a cool experience thing, because the TC's not bogged down with all this stuff. Boom, watch this video. This is one of our TC coaches, Stephanie, doing an example for our customers.
Good morning, Ms. Johnson and Emma. I'm Stephanie, the treatment coordinator here at Williams Orthodontics. I just wanted to virtually pop in and meet you guys, and also let you know I'm here to guide you along the whole journey. And I've been doing some research on your benefits. You have $1,500 of orthodontic coverage, which is awesome. I'm going to help us get Emma started right away. I am here to help, so please don't hesitate to reach out, and I can't wait to see you guys on Thursday.
So you can see in harmony how these outsourced partners help the downtime concepts. New patient groups providing these experience ideas and the training on what to say. RightChat answered and edified the call and the paperwork, entered everything in. Orthofy digitalizes it, automates it, right? Meanwhile, inside your office, because you're doing Invisalign, there's less appointments. Add dental monitoring to it, there's even less appointments. You don't have someone bogged down in the back room doing in-house retainers. They're all focused on the customer. And this is how you grow in this new economy. Now, moving on, new patient experience, all right? We've gotten pretty far into this journey now. We're rolling along. And you can see how this all comes together. And the doctors say, okay, now the prospective customer is entering my business. How do we ensure my people are uniquely trained? And how can we set things up to ensure my vision is again executed? Look, these doctors are saying to themselves, look, my team doesn't understand hospitality and verbiage and presentation. It's not that they can't, but those are all non-clinical things. Why would I go to somebody in the industry, right? Why wouldn't I get non-clinical things trained by somebody that comes from outside the industry that actually specializes in that, which is part of what New Patient Group is, right? So they're saying, how do we get this Envision executed? Because they understand that just because they're scheduled doesn't even mean they're going to show up, right? That's what the downtime concepts help you do, is get them to come in. But next thing they're going to walk through the door, they understand that people are entering at least 3 practices, oftentimes more in this economy, before making a buying decision. So clearly because people are shopping, how do we take the shoppers and get them to buy at high dollar, right? And inevitably, this is your choice, everybody. Like, what do you want to look like when the patient enters? This is your choice. If it looks like this and people are nuts on the phone in a packed waiting room and Nancy doesn't want to come around the front desk and greet a patient properly, and this is what the office looks like, that's on you. It doesn't have to be that way. You're giving a you're not important signal to that family, and you're just doing what everybody does, right? They want their practice to be this. Let's roll out the red carpet. Let's make sure when somebody comes through, they are blown away, and it's better than any business. Forget orthodontics. I want it better than any people hospitality business they've ever been into, restaurant, hotel, etc. And I'm going to get my people trained in a unique way. First of all, VIP greeting. We're going to have a nice chalkboard ready to go with their name, and we're going to change that every single time a new patient's coming through, right? And know their name. And you get to, because of the digital technologies and the cheat sheet of Orthofy, you get to know a lot of really cool information about their hobbies. Maybe they sing in choir. You're going to know that without the new patient call, having to ask that stuff and waste everybody's time, and then they have to fill it out again, right? You're going to know some cool things to where you can greet them in that way to showcase you've read their paperwork, right? Two, no wait time. You cannot let people sit in your waiting room. The only thing cool about your waiting room is never having to be in it. That should be your plan, is nobody sits down, because the second they do, the immersive experience is gone and you're just like everybody else. And it goes back to, if they filled out their paperwork early, they shouldn't have to, or it reduces the chances of have to. And that's where, again, OrthoFi comes in, to where we can get a great greeting that looks something like this.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. I'm Marissa. Mrs. Jones. Nice to meet you. Welcome to our orthodontic family. We're so glad you guys are here today. First, Michaela, I'm going to have you check in right here. Just type in your first name, last name, and hit enter. That's how you sign in for all of your appointments with us, just so we know you're here. You're going right away. So while you're doing that, I am going to hop around here real quick. And then Mom and Michaela, we've got waters for each of you.
Thank you.
So before we get started today, we do things a little differently. We really pride ourselves on having a great patient experience. We don't make you sit in the waiting room filling out a bunch of boring paperwork. We're gonna get you going with a new patient tour right away today. So Michelle, she's our treatment coordinator. She does a really excellent job, very knowledgeable, super fun. She's gonna show you around, get you going on your first appointment. Michelle, this is Michaela, and this is Jones.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jones. Michelle's gonna take care of you guys.
Thank you. All right.
Again, when people walk through your door, all of these outsource partners are working in harmony to create an environment that is growing you like a weed, even during a bad economy, but making you sane and having fun along the way, right? New patient group trains on how to greet them in that video you just saw, right? Right Chat edified the fact they're going to be greeted right when they walk through the door and that we respect your time. OrthoFi helped with the digital technologies to make sure that the cheat sheet and everything was filled out so you knew how to personalize that greeting. The clear aligners aren't, you don't have patients because you're shared a chair with clear aligners and you're doing remote monitoring. And again, retainers for life. There's nobody stuck back there, but the other two, Invisalign and dental monitoring, there's not 1,000 people in your waiting room. This is the way of the new economy, everybody. And now we're going to focus on moving on to digital workflow, clear aligner growth in the exam process. But again, goes back to, we have to circle leadership and culture because it goes back to the vision. Now the prospective customer is entering into the exam process, Rob Schaefer's saying. How do we ensure my people are uniquely trained? And what tools do we have and technologies do we have that we can showcase to help execute my vision? Right? Again, it goes back to the vision. And these doctors know this is just the typical, we're going to take some analog-based photos, yank your cheeks apart. We've got a standard operating TC room that looks something like this. We're going to get out our models, blah, 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 and just put everybody to sleep, right? Because remember, they're going to multiple places. So how do you stand out? And the very first way you stand out is use your digital forms to get ahead and be proactive, to understand exactly what these people want so you can tailor and personalize the experience around what they are saying they want. Sales 101, everybody, 80% of your focus should always be around what somebody is telling you they want, 20% around educating them what they need. And while you're educating them on what they need, you have to tie back that into how it enhances what they want. It's a big part of our exam sales for doctors and TCs, a big, very advanced sales course that we put people through from outside your orthodontic bubble expertise. And it's just a beautiful result. But you've got to use the cheat sheet to stay ahead. Then we've got to scan with the iTero machine, use the in-face visualization. We've got to show off the technologies and use this, not photos. You can even replace the need of photos at the new patient exam with just this. If the other offices do photos, you shouldn't. Now, Brian, we need photos if they start. You're right. So if you get a same-day start, circle back and get them, right? If they sign from home, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, grab the photos when they come in, order whatever you need to order. The reality of the situation is this is the digital age. This is true digital workflow. You can use the scan to diagnose. Tons of Align faculty do it. Tons of the best name orthodontists in this industry. We have a lot of them as customers. They do it. right? The tools that this machine has showcases you're unique. It goes back to memorable experiences, right? It saves you time. It keeps the patient experience better from having to get their cheeks retract all the way through here. It's a totally different experience. Showcases your practice on a whole nother level. And then we have convenience. Convenience should be your number one sales focus, right? Because people and families are busy. So if you can get them better clinical results, improve compliance, more personal attention, without them having to come in for unnecessary appointments, people will buy for higher dollar. Same reason, retainers for life. Look, when you are selling retainers as an example, let's go back to retention. Retention starts in the TC exam process. It is not a sale made after they buy. The exam process sells retention, compliance, partnership for life. We want you to get the best results, the best experience, right? It's an insurance policy to protect what you're investing in today. All kinds of things that we know works to increase sales around retainers. The reality is that starts in your TC room. It does not start later, right? And going back to all of these, this is what the doctors are using as the digital workflow. New patient groups digital workflow training and sales training based on psychology, in-depth sales knowledge, right? Right Chat is edifying that digital workflow, edifying the fact you're going to get to see a really cool 3D outcome simulation of what your smile could look like when Dr. Schaefer is done with his treatment. It's beautiful. I can't wait for you to see it. Our patients love it. They're edifying, getting people excited. OrthoFi's digital technologies allow the cheat sheet for you to personalize this exam experience, right? Invisalign and dental monitoring are giving you, first of all, Invisalign's giving you the digital tools from an iTero machine standpoint that I talked about, but what it's also doing is selling them on convenience, just like dental monitoring. Back to retainers for life, how we can deliver your retainers right to your house. You never have to even come pick them up, right? Excellent retainers, very advanced clinically. Attention to detail of these retainers to make sure that your retention phase just goes beautifully. All of these terminologies, right? These partners allow you to be unique. Now, financial presentation. You know, this is a cool one of my favorites. The new patient call and the financial presentation are probably my two biggest passions outside of the business coaching, the culture, and the leadership. All of them are kind of my favorites, but if I were forced to pick two, these would be probably my two favorites. Because it goes back to the decision that Rob Schaefer and Bob Skopak are making is now it's time to present money. So inevitably, how do we ensure our people are uniquely trained at this given touch point? And what tools and technologies can we provide them? And what can we showcase to make sure, again, my vision is executed? We've got to be memorable. That's how we're going to stand out and charge more. I want to work less. I want to make it easier on my team and myself. And I want to enhance the patient experience along the way. And these doctors know, the financial presentation's just this boring thing. It's like, okay, here's our clipboard. And we got our TC room there, and we're not going to be very flexible with our payment options. And we're going to tell them how much the total price is towards the beginning and sticker shock them. Then the TC is, they're always going to have a personal bias. TCs, if you're watching this is not a criticism, but the reality is you have a personal preference how you buy in life. And whatever that personal preference is, whether you want to believe it or not, that's what you're going to showcase when you're presenting money. You're a low monthly payment buyer, you're going to have a hard time getting people to buy in full with a little bit of a paid in full discount, vice versa. That's one small example of a much bigger 3-hour presentation around bias, right? But the reality is if you take that and you move into this advanced financial presentation training that we do, the paragraph that I'm seeing here right now, if I brought 100 treatment coordinators up on stage, they would all do it exactly this way if they all did it privately first. Mrs. Jones, your insurance covers approximately $1,000 of your total treatment fee. That leaves you the total out-of-pocket expense of $5,000. This comes with A, B, and C, blah, blah, blah. You can pay in full, or, we do offer in-house payment options that are 0%. It requires at least $1,500 down. And as monthly payments that extends for as long as your treatment time is with us. We also have 0% interest, third-party financing available. And within that, there are 12 critical mistakes. And this is actually how TC consultants teach the financial presentation. Packed in there are 12 critical mistakes that cost you everything you see there in the red. The reality is it's killing your case acceptance, same-day starts, overall starts, revenue, cash flow, collections, profitability, and your growth. Right? And we're not going to dive into this, but in addition, or to what all of those mistakes are. That's not the presentation. But the reality is, on top of all this, there is no incentive for that TC to upsell people into retainers. Right? They have no incentive. And that's another reason I love retainers for life, because they are actually paying a sales commission to the treatment coordinators. Those of you who use retainers for life out there, you may not be using it to its full benefit. Those who don't out there, this again is how you want to make sure, because I hate to tell you, as people go into retention, if their teeth shift and they've got to come back, this adds to the chaos. It does not make you more money. You may go, we get to retreat it. It does not make you more money. It's not a good experience for the family, so you should understand how to make it a beautiful retention experience. And the more beautiful that experience, the more compliant it will be with them using their retainers. More on that in a little bit when we talk about how your assistants should actually be coaches. Also, what does going beyond look like? Well, we've got the cheat sheet. So we already know, hey, look, Mrs. Jones says she wants a low down payment and low monthly payment, right? So that means you're not going to talk about a total price. You're also not going to talk about a total price or a paid in full discount. Why? You're going to sticker shock them because they are not that type of psychological buyer. That's a 3-hour presentation in itself. But you are using the digital tools you have to personalize your verbiage and your presentation to fit that type of buyer's needs the best. Then you've got an all-digital slider. And that slider with OrthoFi, right, these again back to OrthoFi and how Rob Schaefer and Bob Skopak use them, that has AI built in on a soft credit check. It's called Open Choice. And one of the ways this is upcoming podcast, as I do this webinar today, I have not done it yet. But so depending on when you listen to it, I may have already done it. But the reality is there's a misconception, right? Being affordable does not mean cheap. Being affordable means flexible, meaning that if you are the most expensive practice in town and you are more flexible, you will beat the practice that is the cheapest in town and is not flexible. Meaning if you allow a lower down payment than the other practice, you win. If you allow to extend out past their treatment time, sometimes significantly past, even though you're more expensive, you just became more affordable. Flexibility. A myth. If I let the patient choose, they will put less money down. Wrong. Right? Open choice takes the bias out of the TC presentation and actually increases your cash flow, money down at the time of signed contract. In fact, according to OrthoFi, the data, and this will show the TC is driving down your down payment, your cash flow. Because when the patient starts at home, they actually put $850 more down than they do when they're in the office. And again, goes back to the TC bias. Also, if I extend monthly payments beyond their treatment time, they'll default. False. There is not one piece of data in orthodontics that shows that's true. The data actually shows the opposite, right? So if you've had a situation or a few where you tried that and the patient didn't pay, those are just one-offs. For every 100, there may be one or two, but who cares about the one or two if 100 did it and 98 of them paid fine and those 98 started because you're more flexible? There's zero data. Again, going back to the financial presentation, it's easy for the TC. It takes her bias out of it. It takes the financial presentation mistakes out of it because you're handing them a slider. The slider looks cooler. Right Chat is edifying that for the practices. Again, the flexibility, the cool digital technology that allows you to pick your own investment. New Patient Group is training the TCs on that verbiage skills, those salesmanships, if you will. OrthoFi is delivering these digital tools. Right? Again, Invisalign dental monitoring are a big part of why you can charge more because of the convenience. Retainers for Life is edified, and at that time can be part of the presentation. I realize it's a separate contract. Okay, but again, retention starts in the TC room as part of the sales process. Okay? You've got to get the TC on board with that. And again, Retainers for Life also goes back into the convenience and allowing you to charge more. But what if they don't buy? We're entering the OBS and the pending treatment phase now, and we're about to wrap this up. We don't have much more left. I hope you're enjoying this today. This is something I'm so passionate about. We teach this for a living, and we see how much it changes lives. But there's a mindset you really have to get past, is the numbers that are showing you on paper, they lie, right? They lie. As an example, really quick off the cuff here. RightChat. So sometimes, for those who use RightChat as the primary, as an example, so if we're answering all your new patient calls, sometimes, depending on how many calls you take, RightChat is more on paper than what a couple employees might be or an employee might be, depending on, again, your volume. But again, these doctors, based on their vision, they know that's not true, because what you're paying the employee, that doesn't come with the training, the customer service skills, the sales fundamentals, the psychology knowledge, verbiage presentation, and all that. It doesn't also, that price, guess what? If that person leaves, you got to do it all over again. There are all these hidden costs that are happening to you. Like when a braces patient shows up and it wasn't even an emergency, or shows up, they tell you it's one thing and they show up at something else, right? With dental monitoring, remote monitoring, that doesn't happen anymore. Right? Even though on paper, you don't see money being taken out of your account, every single time someone answers a phone, every single time somebody comes in and it's a reactive situation, you lose money. Right? And I hope you're realizing this as you go through this journey, is these outsource partners are growing you. So they are investments. They are giving you your time back. They are investments. And there is a true difference between an investment and a cost. It is a priceless thing for you as a business owner and entrepreneur to comprehend. So now we're moving into, hey, they weren't clinically ready, come back and see us in 10 months, or yeah, they were, I need to speak with my husband, or whatever the situation is. Look at this data. So from Gauge, less than 40% of people placed into OBS ever return to a practice. Do you realize how many millions of dollars your practice loses because of an outdated OBS process? Now, I can't dive into what we teach for an observation process, but I can dive into what these doctors, the tools they're using, as well as how it's different. Right? The other one is a practice in business, according to Dental Economics, just 5 years has over $2 million worth of pending treatment just sitting in their charts. This number triples for those businesses in 10 years. Millions upon millions. And this is stuff TCs happen to watch, and doctors too. These are not things TCs handle well because most TCs don't want to quote unquote bug people. But meanwhile, all these lost opportunities, just with the missed call, the missed new patient calls, and believe me, with the missed new patient calls, we have the data. If you're a practice that gets about 20 to 30 new patients a month, when RightChat starts, we start scheduling 2 to 5 a month overnight. It's crazy how many new patient calls practices miss, which dominoes into a retainers for life, or an Invisalign, or OrthoFi. When you miss an opportunity, that's an opportunity lost for all those other outsource partners as well. The numbers are real, but you're out there thinking, I've got to advertise. No, you don't. You've got to create a business that plugs the leaky holes, that grows like a weed machine because your no-shows drop. Your paperwork that people fill out goes up. Your insurance is being verified prior to walking through the door. The new patient phone call lost opportunities go away. The no-shows go away. Your OBS goes up, and now instead of 40% returning, it's 70% returning. Your pending treatment, you're getting more people back through the door because you keep calling them every month for life rather than the first couple months, and then they never hear from you again. And these doctors know this, so their decision goes back to their vision, and they say to themselves, okay, the prospective customer wasn't clinically ready, or they were but needed to think about it. So again, what tools and training can we leverage from other companies to ensure the vision is again executed? And they know this is what normal looks like. You have an Excel sheet that you're tracking things on. You've got a calendar, when to follow up with people. You've got sticky notes. You've got this clipboard. They know this is what it looks like. And they know that's outdated because there's companies that can give you the tools. And because it's outdated, this is what your people, nobody wants to do this stuff. Nobody wants to do this stuff. It drives them nuts. And inevitably, it drives you nuts as a business owner. And this is one of these things where you've got to have digital tools to where people can sign at home. Do not be the practice that makes them call, makes them somehow communicate, makes them drive back to your office, because you will lose. Again, if they're shopping, and this is how these practices win, and I'm at home and I'm talking to my wife and we're like, all right, should we get Braden's one of my kids? And we're like, all right, should we do this? Yeah, everything looks good. Let's do it. Boom, hit the bottom line. Or, okay, honey, should we do this? Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Oh, okay, we can't. We've got to call back tomorrow. Then tomorrow happens and I've got work and she gets life. Look, Sign at home. All they have to do with OrthoFi, click a button. All they have to do, click a button. I'll say it again. This is the mindset. And these are the tools that not only replace the need for people as they leave you, but they're tools that are growing you along the way. 33% of people signed on the weekend or after hours. Not going to happen if they've got to call you. All right, this one too. All right, we'll pull up this one. Looks like Zoom just went backwards on the, there we go. Not sure what happened there, but we'll keep rolling. Again, automated pending patient follow-up. With OrthoFi, you can personalize the emails and text. You can flip this on whenever you want. We always recommend the first month TC do it, and then the second month, flip this tool on, and it becomes automated for about 13 weeks right in there. You can communicate via emails and text, and it automates the process for you, and it just keeps hitting them. And I hate to tell you this, guys watching, you're in sales. I know it can be a dirty word, but the reality of the situation is the person in sales that follows up the best wins. That is in any industry. And if you aren't following up, especially in a down economy, I'll say it again here, you are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You've got to have the digital tools. This pending management tool, it organizes it for you. It's all digital. It tells you when the person's supposed to be contacted. It allows you to control your thoughts and your mind. Remain organized in a completely digital fashion. Remain organized, all right? And then also, if we can pull up this, there we go, your OBS pending tree or your OBS dashboard as well. Again, so patients are not falling through the cracks and being left behind, right? Well, we're going to put them in OBS for 10 months. What do? You start following up with a 9. No, people should be hearing from you every month. Part of what we do with New Patient Group and it goes on YouTube is we create a monthly follow-up, and it's a video from the doctor. You know, hey, kiddo, checking in on you. Dr. Jones here, Dr. Skopak, Dr. Schaefer here. And it was great seeing you. You know, the first video is just kind of a thank you and, hey, reminding you to have great hygiene, kiddo. We want to make sure you're ready when you come back and those teeth are nice and clean, right? Just staying on their mind. Every time they click it, your YouTube station's growing. It's building your SEO results on Google and YouTube because you're building more authoritative views. And guess what? It's working smarter, not harder. And all these outsource partners combined to make it easier on you. Right? Look, I don't want to bug them. Just like I was saying, this is things we hear all the time. People will call us back when they are ready. If you take one thing away from today, no, they won't. Right? Unless you get very lucky, they won't. The reality is, again, in sales, you've got to be on their mind at the right time. And if I was in your practice 2 years ago and you're not following up with me every month or every quarter or whatever it may be consistently, you are losing business. That is lost opportunities of people that would buy from you. Mr. Jones gets a check. You know, it could be a bonus check. Boom, that next morning after he got the bonus check, he receives communication from Terry, the TC, that says, hey, Mr. Jones, just checking in on you, seeing how things are going. It's been a while since we talked. We'd really love Joey to get started with that treatment. Boom. Timing. You've got to be following up. Now, Right Chat, as it stands today, as this webinar has just recently implemented following up with pending treatment on behalf of practices after month 1. So that is a service the doctors are starting to use. Just wanted to let that know because we know it's such a lost opportunity that we now want to take that out of the hands of the practice and do it for them. And again, goes back to these tools, right? If you as your practice are using the tools, the thing that I didn't talk about earlier is that now your people have time to follow up. Your outdated business model, when are they going to sit down for 12 hours a week? Which is what it should take. About 9 to 12 hours a week is what you should be devoting to pending treatment and OBS. Right? Now that changes a little bit the more efficient you get and doing it some of the ways we teach our customers. But the reality is do you have time? Your TC really going to sit down for 9 to 12 hours a week in a room and communicate via email, text, and phone? It's very unlikely. They're doing it in between patients. You know that. They may have a little time blocked every single week, but that is not the way it needs to be done, right? It's got to be more than that. And if you have in-house retainers as an example, this is another example. Move your business forward by taking that person and put them in a room and make them do it 3, 5, 6, 7 hours follow-up every month or every week. That is how you move your needle. So while these companies are out doing all the dirty work for you, you can be back focused on growing your business. Now the existing patient experience, we've got through this journey. And I got to tell you, from a leadership standpoint, this is becoming one of my favorite things to teach. is the reality is that your existing customers are your lifeline. It's not the new patients. You should want an even better experience for your people that bought than the ones that haven't bought from you yet. And that's the decision that these doctors are making. They say to themselves, the people that bought from me, they're the lifeline of the business, right? They deserve an even better experience than before they bought. Therefore, what companies, what tools, what technologies can I use to ensure this happens and my vision is again executed? It goes back to these doctors are thinking, as we coach them and as we talk to them, like your new patient experience is affected by your existing patient experience, but the existing patient experience is affected by all these things too. Like if you have a packed waiting room, again, if this is your outdated model, the existing patient experience is not going to be good because your assistants do not have time to coach the patient, to coach them to compliance, discuss their expectations, discuss with mom what we call the benefit experience. It's a Ritz-Carlton hospitality training where you say how today's appointment, how this benefits you and your family, and you fill in the blanks. You should have a 5-minute consult at the end of every appointment to sit with mom. Oh, Brian, mom's out in the car. Okay, well, your assistant should take the kid to the car, open up the door for the kid, discuss as the windows are down with mom and kid. Okay, there is no excuse because this is normal, and the doctors know this. Packed waiting room, assistants rushing through appointments, unnecessary visits, scheduling done in the front, little no coaching, assistants rushing to clean up, little to no hospitality or salesmanship, and no asking for referrals, reviews, or videos. And then all of you wonder why you have a compliance problem. It's not the clear aligners, it's your team, it's your business model. And then you wonder why or how to get more referrals. It's what I'm talking about. You've got to be hospitality first. When people walk through your door after they buy from you, they better be greeted by the assistant assigned to get them. That should be your goal. Nobody waiting in your waiting room. And if you do this model, high share to chair with clear aligners, outsource the other stuff we're talking about, boom, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. And the reality is people come into your office too often. It's just unnecessary. This myth of people want to see me, they've got to see me to justify the price, all this stuff, they're all myths. They're all personal bias. None of them are true. The more convenience you offer, it's not that they don't want to see you, but they don't want to see you if they don't have to. You're a disruption to their life, right? It'd be like Amazon going, well, you can, buy online sometimes, but otherwise, there's other times you have to come into the store, right? No. It's convenience. So therefore, when they are in your office, you can focus more on giving them the attention they deserve, greeting them, having a coaching session, right? Sitting down with mom and kid and really discussing and giving them this VIP experience. Because what can happen from a go beyond standpoint? You can have an empty waiting room, patient greeted the moment they enter, water or coffee made for the parent, more than enough time to spend with the patient without rushing to the next one. No, you're on on-demand scheduling, so the patient just walks when they're done, which doesn't clog the front. It's a way better way to schedule, right? On-demand scheduling, if you're using remote monitoring, that is. Assistants can be focused on coaching rather than just using their clinical skills. And then the assistants can ask for referrals. And I'm going to give you here a guide to compliance, right? And this is a family at the end of their appointment or the beginning, and they're non-compliant with a remote monitoring. And I'm going to teach you a script here, and it will change your life. But I will tell you right now that this takes hours upon hours, at least 6 months worth of role-playing. That's what New Patient Group is there for, right? So Mrs. Jones, Joey did fantastic today. Started with a compliment, right? I want you to know we are so proud of him as he is really wearing his aligners very well. We always talk as an office how much we look forward to seeing your family whenever you arrive. Well, something important I want to discuss, okay? Joey was, and that's called an ear opener, right? Joey was doing so great with his remote scanning, and lately that has dropped off. Is everything going okay? All right, now that is called a probing question, right? You're not attacking, you're probing, right? Patient answers. Maybe the patient says, yeah, my girlfriend broke up with me, right? Which it's crazy some of the feedback we get once this is implemented well. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. And just know we are always here for you and you can talk about anything you want with us. So let's do this. Let's hit the reset button and get back on track. That's a transitional statement. Because if we don't, and this is what's called a consequence approach, if we don't get back on track, We're just looking at the inconvenience of delayed treatment time, higher financial costs for you, and just not as good clinical results that Dr. Schaefer is so well known for giving the best. But the best only happens when you're compliant too, okay? So I don't want those things to happen. Now, it'll benefit you and your family. This is called the benefit experience, another ear opener. As people hear those words, they open up. So how this will benefit your family to start scanning properly is that we can get them done on time, maybe even early with those impeccable results Dr. Schaefer has become so well known for. And then Joey, this is called a commitment question. And this question cannot be left out, everybody. This is the key. Joey, can I have your commitment to scan at the same time and same day every week? Patient says yes. And then you turn to Mom, Mrs. Jones, can I have your commitment to help us hold Joey accountable for scanning at the same time, same day every week? Your life will change when your assistants have time to coach, when they have time to also ask Mrs. Jones and Joey. We are a family-owned practice. We thank you for your business so much, and we thrive when great patients like you tell others how great we are. Can I have your commitment to send us a referral that is a friend, a family member, or a coworker this month? That would really help us out, right? Again, a commitment question. But if they have time to have a consult at the end of every appointment, if they can ask questions like this, you will not believe it. Look, everybody, having the ability to be brutally honest, this is from Mark Cuban, I teach this a lot. To be brutally honest with yourself is the greatest challenge you face when creating your business model. And too often we all see ourselves on the quality of the idea, service, or product, but we don't provide an honest assessment of how we fit into the market and why customers will inevitably buy from us. And what I would say in this quote is a higher price, right? And inevitably, I taught you today how you make that happen. But you've got to take an honest assessment and and we're going to leave it on this, ask yourself these 8 questions. And this is the phases of customer acquisition. 1, how do I excel as the leader of my organization to create a vision that helps create a culture that obsesses over our customers? If you all spent 90% of your time obsessed with customers rather than your quote-unquote competition, you would have no competition. How do we get the right people to call? How do we get them to then schedule? How do we get them to show up? How do we get them to buy at a premium price? How do we get them to be compliant? How do we get them to refer? And how do we do all the above at the highest of levels while having more fun and working, spending, and stressing less? That is the consumer journey that I took for you today. And if you look at each one of those, that's like their own unique business. And you can do it, right? You can do it and you can have fun. You can work less and live more. You can have a better experience for you and your team and be zen and achieve that beautiful balance that we all look for as business owners. And I hope you enjoyed the $4 million 4-employee practice, everybody, the art of outsourcing. I hope this got through. Hope that mindset changed. Hope that motivated you to run your practice in a different way and need less but grow more. It was a great job. It was great being with everybody today. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, we'll see everybody soon. Bye-bye.